Respect my uke.
What's going on, man? It's been a while.
Happy to have you back, bro. Yo, this is shit. So listeners have heard a few throwback episodes. We always feel bad when we have to throw out a throwback. Well, I can't say that. I think it's good to have a throwback every so often because it reminds people of kind of where we've been a little bit. But oh shit, I think you froze, E. While EFN unfreezes. So we've had
froze.
Okay, now you're back. So we've had a few throwbacks for a bunch of different reasons, but most recently, I say the last two have been because of people being sick and not us not being able to actually like get together and do this. So, do you want to give people a little bit of the backstory in your recent exploits and being sick? Because you had a hell of a time recently. Oh shit. See, as soon as I start throwing the alley-oop to EFN, boom, he gone. Let's give him a second. Hold on.
Yeah, man. So it's been a rough few weeks. It was like we caught a nasty flu. I had it. My girl had it. The kids caught it. I had to take my son to urgent care. Him and my daughter tested positive for flu A, and so I'm assuming that's what I had. But it was really like, man, like I hadn't had a flu like that in a long time. It was crazy. It was like worse than COVID.
That's what I said too. Yep.
Yeah, man. It was rough. And one thing that I've been fiending to talk about here, because I don't know if you felt it in the text messages when we were texting, like, it's week one, I got the flu. Then I felt like, I'm feeling like I'm might be getting better, and then I'll have like drink champs, and then I'll drink, and then I'll have an event, and I'll drink also, and then I'll have drink champs, and then you gotta, there's no time for resting as a parent of young children, especially.
Yep.
Doesn't matter how sick you are, especially if they're sick. So there's that part of it, and I was coughing so much at night that I wasn't sleeping well.
Mm-hmm.
So I was damn near, I had an insomnia, so, and imagine, so this is 1 week, 2 weeks, it's going on, it went on 3 weeks. I'm not going into the office, I'm not able to catch up on emails and work. It just started like getting cabin fever, and then I'm the last of the Mohicans on my side of the family, like on terms of like the kids. Everybody got better. My girl got better, my kids got better, and then I'm the one that's still sick.
Yeah.
So I started
there was definitely a sense of like desperation in the text. Like I did feel that.
Bro, I was over it. I was annoyed. I was starting to feel like I want to get deep in the sense that, of course, the other parent, a mother, would feel the same way, but I can only, we're speaking to fathers, and I'm speaking from the perspective of a father, and also the perspective of, the breadwinner in the home too, that feels the responsibility of making sure that I keep up with work, to make sure, we pay bills. I started to go into a dark place, man, like unknowingly. Like I was just like, obviously I knew I was sick, obviously I knew everything, but you start going to the place where it's like, yo, when do I rest? They tell you, like, the doctor or people, your family would be like, oh, you're sick, get some rest, stay in bed, just have soup, do this, do that. There's you can't do that, when you got kids.
Well, not only that, but in your particular case, everybody was sick.
Everybody. But I'm just saying, now at the point where I'm the last one,
right,
I still can't do it. Because there's, it's all hands on deck, even when, we're not sick.
Mm-hmm.
So it just started.
You're telling me,
and it's the holidays on top of that.
Okay, that complicates it a lot.
Right.
But your lady was better by the time you caught it, correct?
No. We both caught it at the same time.
You were both going through it. Okay.
Yeah. So we're both, like, the first 3 days, like, we couldn't move, man. Like, it was that bad. Like, but we had to move because the kids, and then my son's throwing up, diarrhea. And then, like, I got to a point where I had stomach flu too. Like, everything just, like, it was like I felt like I got sick multiple times within that 3 weeks.
That's how I felt.
Like
Definitely.
maybe I felt like one day, like, oh, maybe I'm getting better, and bomb, it hits me again.
Yep.
Maybe, I don't have like mucus, but boom, the next day I have mad mucus and congestion, and then I don't have any sinus issue, boom, sinus the next day. Like it was like I was getting all these weird things in waves, and I was doing the IV shit. Like I'm trying to do things. I did the IV therapy twice
at home. Like they brought you.
Luckily, shout out to it's Insta Hydrate on Instagram.
Okay.
Homie, he's in our neighborhood. Started his own business, and he offered it to us, and so we did the first one, and it was after those 3 days that we were like really fucked up. That night, dude, like me and my girl that day, that evening, because we got it in the afternoon, we were like cleaning. We're like, oh shit, man, we back, baby, we back.
Your boy was like, yo, you want that? Yeah, I mean,
this is day 4, bro, of being sick. And now looking back, I was far from being better. Right. But that night, bro, you couldn't tell me shit. I was like, this must be what cocaine feels like. I was like, yo, but then when I went time to go to sleep, bro, I felt like currents going through my body. I couldn't go to sleep.
Wow.
So I woke up shittier because I couldn't sleep. And yeah, man, it was wild. So saying all this because it's like I got in a real dark place. Mentally, I really was feeling like, damn, man, like how do I rest? What do like you start to feel like, man, it's like, what am I supposed to do? And I don't want to feel sorry for myself, but it's like, how do I, like I can't work, I can't get the shit done that I need to get done. The holidays, I can't even fucking shop for, for gifts for the family. And it's just like, you're like, I can't rest. Everybody's telling me you gotta rest. But how do you rest? You can't rest. Yeah. Not in my home, at least. There's no just laying in bed all day type shit. You can't do that.
And y'all used to have some help before, no longer?
We do, but even she got sick.
Okay.
She came the first few days.
Yeah,
and then she got sick.
You guys were all fucked up then.
And then the kids weren't going to school. And then my kids, when they're sick, they're like more hyper because they're like, they're trying to move around so they don't feel it.
Yeah.
So they're bouncing all over the place. Except my son, when it got so bad for him, the little guy, man, he's throwing up everything he's eating. And he got so weak that, you put him down, he'll take 2 steps and he would throw himself to the ground.
Oh shit.
Because he was so weak. It was like disheartening to see that.
So you're in a dark place. What is going through your mind? When you say you're in a dark place, what does that mean? Like you
just feel like you start to think dumb shit, like, man, like, oh man, fuck this shit, man. Like, what the fuck is going? Like, you're irritable. You get into arguments with your significant other over dumb shit.
Yeah.
You just start to feel like unappreciated. As a father, as a man, as a breadwinner, you're like, bro, like, does anybody want to like maybe go out of the way to let me fucking rest? Like you start to just feel you feel sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
And, you start to like, just feel like everybody's against, like, no one's like letting you become selfish. This is just to boil it down. But this is the thing that I really wanted to discuss, because even if that stuff is valid in that moment, as soon as I started to feel better, right? Like, and this is maybe just 4 or 5 days ago that I started to feel better.
Yep.
The minute that I started to feel better, bro, my mind cleared up. My optimism came back. My pessimism went away. And I wasn't negative at all. And I was like, hold up a second, bro. I don't know the biology or the science behind it, but I don't, maybe this flu, does something chemically. It has a chemical imbalance, creates a chemical imbalance in your system that allows stress to really fucking get to you. And I can't imagine people who already, prior to being sick like this, maybe being in a dark place. I could see, and I say this also to say with, rest in peace to that dude Twitch that passed away, that committed suicide, who's a father, which I can't even fathom doing that to myself having kids. I cannot fathom it, bro.
That shit shook my whole household, but we'll talk more about that in a second.
But all of this ties into me because it all happened around the time. And I'm like, anybody that might be going through something and isn't already in a dark place and then catches some kind of a flu or something that, like, maybe there's something there where it's like there's an imbalance where, man, that would take that person over the top.
So I think I had the same thing that you had, just given the way you described it. I didn't get any tests done or anything, but the shit was incredibly fucking difficult to get through. It wasn't as long as yours. Mine lasted 5 days, which is, I think, an absurd amount of time, but, you know, still not like you were going through.
And I added to mine because I'm drinking.
Right. Yeah.
So please, if you're
and
if
I'm
you have the
resting.
flu, don't fucking go out there and get drunk.
Yeah, and I'm definitely resting. I'm not drinking alcohol. Like, I'm hydrating. So I was doing things that, you know, you weren't able to do. But and maybe this is why I'm about to. It didn't hit me the way it hit you, right? Because the combination of things that you're doing in combination with being sick may lead to you being in a darker place than I was. So that does, I think there's some merit there. But I think generally speaking, like, when you feel helpless, when you're sick like that, I think it's pretty logical for somebody to get down. The depth depends on the person, but to get down, because, yo, it is debilitating. Like, you have no energy to do shit. And then you add on top of that your kids, the household responsibility, all that other shit. The monkey that's on your back is it's a gorilla, bro. So, like, I can totally, especially again, like in your shit, I could see that. I wonder, like, if what you're saying does hold weight, but the combination of things, I think, make a big impact on it. Because if you're able to get rest and you're hydrating, I think a lot of the impact is a lot less, even though it still comes. Because, yo, the cabin fever alone, like what we just went through in the COVID crisis, like, that shit is real.
Right.
But look, let me ask you a question, because I had a conversation recently with a gentleman. Shout out to Steven. He's a listener of the show. Actually found out about Fly Dad through something that happened on Drink Champs.
Not through your centerfold.
No. He ordered that after.
That you did.
He ordered that after he found. No, I'm kidding.
On DominicanPapi.com.
I should go buy that. So he found out about Fly Dad through Drink Champs, and then found out about the podcast through Fly Dad. Right. So I'm having a conversation. So I'm having conversations with customers of Fly Dad a lot lately. And we were talking about what his life was like when he found out he was having a child. Right. And so he was in his almost 40. He was almost 40 years old when he had his first and only, right now, child. And he said, yo, as soon as he found out that his lady was pregnant, something clicked in his mind, and he said, yo, I need to go get help. And not because he thought he was fucked up necessarily, but he was like, yo, I know I have baggage that I need to settle before I introduce this being into the world. And he was proactive in figuring. And by the way, mad props to him, because look, he's similar to us in this respect. He's Latino. And he's a man, Latino.
Right.
A male Latino has so much stacked against him when it comes to being able to be okay seeking therapy, even today, because of all the shit that we throw at each other and, like, how we try to punk each other and all that shit. So for him to have that presence of mind to go do that, I was like, yo, dog, like, that's like mind blowing to me. So I turn the question to you and say, we in general, but you in particular, you have a lot that you deal with on a day-to-day. You don't have a standard life like a lot of people, regular job and that kind of thing. Have you ever considered therapy?
Absolutely.
And have you taken the step, or are you still kind of thinking about it?
The thing is, I was talking about this with a friend. Well, first and foremost, what's the listener's name again?
Sorry. Hello?
Yeah, you're there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. I can't hear you now.
Okay.
Steven.
Well, shout out to Steven. And I want to say, I told my girl the same thing. I tell my girl that all the time, that both of us, either as a couple or, I think we both, like, we should do it individually and as a couple. Not to say we have problems, but just to say whatever we need to do to be better human beings for our children so that our baggage doesn't affect them, we should do it. And it's a failure on our end that we haven't been able to initiate that. And
I propose a challenge.
Well, hold on a second, but let me continue. And I'll take your challenge. And my girl needs, if she's listening, take the challenge.
Yeah.
And so yes, I agree. I do believe in therapy, I'm saying. Yeah. And I want to do it. I have hesitations because I don't have time for it, which it should be top priority, but a lot of things should be top priority. I also am skeptical of other human beings.
But it's a trust thing.
It's a huge. When I was younger, I've done therapy.
You mentioned that.
My mom, threw me in because of my parents being divorced and all that. And there was some decent people that I spoke to, and my mom was always looking for the cheaper free route. So I was always going through the government assisted student who's learning to be a therapist or a psychologist or whatever. So
you were the guinea pig.
I'm the guinea pig, and my mom put me in a couple different things that I had terrible experiences doing these things. Yeah, I met one person out of 5 that was decent, but you go to so many people, it's not healthy. And you're supposed to divulge your life and talk about yourself. And then now for me, it's even scarier just because I'm older, God forbid my therapist is a fan of Drink Champs, like, I don't know, it's just a bunch of weird shit that goes to it, but I'm open to it and I feel it's important. I don't want to lose my trend. Oh, what I wanted to say also is that, and sorry, I'm kind of all over the place, but the other thing, like, there was several things that I was feeling in that time that I was going dark. Yeah. And it was like, I feel like I'm becoming I'm a failure in work. I'm not taking advantage and the initiative to, which I always feel this way, but I'm always like, I got to do more. I want to do more. I want to diversify. I want to do more. I want to do more. But now I can't do anything. So I'm complete failure. Then I feel like I'm a failure to my significant other, to my girl. And most importantly, I felt like I was a bad father because I'm feeling like crap. So therefore, my personality is not my norm with my kids. I can't play with them as much as I want to. They're not getting 100% of me. And I'm like, damn, I'm a crappy dad. So you start to feel all this stuff on top of you. And one thing that it showed me is how what's the word I'm looking for? I can't, for lack of a better word, how thin that shield or that layer is that allows you to do things with, and just deal with life stresses, like that force field or whatever. Yeah. Because it was not there. You know what I'm saying?
It shattered fast.
So these stresses that are there every day were fucking getting to me in a way that you couldn't believe it. And it's just wild that once I started to feel better, I was like, oh fuck, bro. Like, what the fuck was that?
The force field was charging back up.
And as a man, it's hard, it's hard to talk to people about these things.
Yeah.
100%. And also I feel like, who the fuck wants to hear your problems? Everybody got their own problems in terms of talking to friends and family. Right.
I mean, isn't that kind of the point of having friends though?
It is. But then there's also the thing is that to really, really talk, you need time, and nobody has fucking time nowadays.
You need time, but also you got to almost establish like a sense of seriousness, because your friends and my friends are very similar in the sense that, like, when we get together, it's like clowning or the end. Right. So anything you might say in that moment will be thrown back at you. Like, come on, man, stop being a bitch, blah, blah, blah. When in reality, you're like, nah, I really need to, like, get the shit off my chest. So it becomes chaotic and difficult in those circumstances too, which is why. So, and I told this to Steven when I chatted with him, like, I value so much our conversations because we goof, we fuck around, but the intention is to try to help each other and help whoever's listening, like, at a minimum, see or empathize with kind of the situations that we come across. And doing that is therapy in and of itself, right? Like you having this conversation right now is offloading a little bit of whatever you have on you. So
Right, I need it. I was telling you guys, I need to talk.
But like I told you, like we don't have to wait to record. We could always jump on the phone.
I know, but I want it to be fresh because I feel that maybe this helps somebody else. Maybe
100% it does.
And look, I spoke to one of my friends, and I'm not going to name his name, just because I didn't tell him I was going to bring him up. But I have a friend of mine. He's from the exterior. You look at him, he looks like a hardcore ass dude. You know, people don't fuck with him. You know, he looks a little intimidating and scary. And I just happened to talk to him about. I was calling him about something else, but we got into emotions, and just like going through shit. And he divulged to me that he often gets in a dark place, and talked about like he would love to be able to talk to somebody, but he doesn't know how to even go about doing that. And he doesn't trust the same thing of trusting. And then I was like, because this is what he said that immediately I was like, man, that's how crazy that all of us men kind of might probably feel this way. He said he felt lonely. And I often say that. Excuse me. I told my girl that. I said, I feel lonely, not because I feel lonely because you're not there for me and as a couple, but as a man dealing with man shit, like, and not having a father figure that's been in my life or any real male figure that I can trust. I don't have anybody to go to and talk to about man shit, and I don't have role models that I can say, oh yeah, this is someone really close to me that this is what this person does. And they're there. At least I can see them. I don't have that,
Yeah.
So you start to feel lonely as a man dealing with certain things. And my friend tells me he felt lonely. And you see this dude, you're like, this guy feels lonely.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I feel. And I was like, damn, dog. I was like, look. And then, he starts telling me about he would love to be able to talk. And he's telling me his problems and shit that he's dealing with that's pretty intense. And I'm like, God damn, like you're dealing with some real shit.
Right.
Family dynamic shit that's pretty intense. And so I'm like, we talk about therapy and all that. But I was like, look, at the end, I was like, look, bro, you can call me and you could talk to me. You are not alone, dog.
Yeah.
I'm one of my best friends. And he's like, I know.
People need to hear that shit.
He's like, I know, but it's like you got your family, you got your shit. I don't want. And I go, and I understand because I don't want to burden you. And we don't have 2 hours to talk because I need some hours, bro, to get some shit off.
Yeah.
But then, I was like, nah, bro, at the end of the day, if it's needed, it's needed.
Yeah. I'll tell you something. And I feel like you take advantage of this every so often, but like me, this is how I look at it. I could be incredibly busy, which is pretty normally what my days are like between family, work, and all this other stuff. But I will drop everything in a heartbeat for being there for somebody when they need it. And sometimes it's not on some like life or death type of shit. It's like somebody's hit this point where you could sense the frustrations at a peak. And that could be just a tiny little moment in that day. But being able to be there for that person and like shove stuff aside, like I it's hard, but I'm willing to prioritize things in that way because you don't know. And again, I don't want to make it sound morbid, right? Like people might hear what I'm saying and think like, oh my God, yeah, if somebody sounds like they're about to kill themselves, like sure, but it doesn't have to be that crazy, but it can get that crazy. But how do you identify that? You don't know what that other person's really dealing with. So I take it pretty seriously when you or a friend of mine or like anybody that's really close to me is like calling me specifically. When they call me, 9 times out of 10, either I'm picking up that phone call or I'm gonna hit them right back and be like, yo, I could speak in X amount of time.
Right.
Because I don't know what's about to go down. And if it's bullshit, I'll be like, yo, look, all right, cool, let's talk later. But most of the time it's not. Because in this day and age, it's a text primarily you communicate. When somebody's calling you, usually it's something serious or important. So I'd say to you, with me, you got that. And I don't want to hear the bullshit of like, yo, but I know you busy. Let me determine that. And I'll let you know.
No, and I appreciate, and you've been there. And you, Heather, look, I consider myself a lucky person. I think I have some really solid friends in my life, old school and new school.
Which is rare. Both are rare because you got long tenured friends And then you got some new friends, which is really hard to fucking figure out who is and who isn't.
And they're Dominican. Who would have ever thought?
Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
You and Socrates came out of fucking left field. But you know, I'm lucky, and I fear for those who don't have solid friends out there. And that's the thing that I have a lot of pride in with especially my old school friends, because people always say, "Oh man, I admire your crew. You guys have been together for so long." Yeah. And you know, it's not to say that we're a perfect group of friends, that we're perfect friends to each other all the time. You know, we got our ups and our downs. But one thing that one thing that I've always tried to do as the quote unquote kind of like leader of the crew,
right. Yeah, the gang leader of Crazy Hood
is I've always tried to like talk to my friends legitimately, like we are a family, bro. Like you guys are my brothers, and that's how I always looked at my Crazy Hood crew. I don't have siblings, and I talk to them very openly and lovingly. Like, you know, like I'll tell my friends, yo, I got no problem telling my friends, yo, I love y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? I'll tell them, like, if someone we know passes away, I'll be like, yo, guys, take care of your health. You know, does anybody need anything? Anybody need any, you know, like, want me to point you in the direction of a physician, a doctor? You need a checkup. Like, we'll get on someone that we feel like is kind of a little bit unhealthy in the crew, which we're probably all unhealthy, but you know, to deflect ourselves, we'll attack the more unhealthy person. But I just think that sets us apart from most people like us, you know, crews like us, where we really try to, we have like our group text, and you know, we're always like there touching bases, which I think is very helpful when people probably do feel alone. Oftentimes they're like, at least I, you know, sometimes just that little text group makes you feel like you're
I'm
there,
not
you're
alone.
connected. Yeah, you're there, you're not, you know, and I'm not gonna say it works for everybody, because you might have a crew of 10 people, 8 people, and 6 of y'all are great, but maybe there's, you know, 2 of them that's not enough, you know, but I don't know.
It's and I don't mean to bring this back to like business or anything, but it's one of those compelling things that brought me to, as far as Fly Dad goes, like create essentially the same kind of thing, right? A text group, because actually you kind of talked about it, and I'm going to pigeonhole it into like the context of fatherhood, but like there's so many men who feel alone, confused, like they're fucking it all up as dads, right? And it's hard in the most general sense to talk to other men about your flaws or what you're perceiving as flaws. Right. And so this Telegram group that we started for Fly Dad, it's been going on for a little over a year now, but that's the premise of it. And sometimes there's nothing going on in that chat group. Like we're not talking for like days, but then somebody will chime in and be like, yo, I just took my first road trip with my infant, and here's what I thought it was going to be, and here's how it ended up. And then we kind of like talk about it, share our own experiences, and like it's like this cool effect of community. We don't even know each other. Like this is just, we all know we have kids. That's pretty much it, and we're scattered all over the place. And then we get into some conversations that are heavy, and at the end of it, like you sense the sigh of relief in the person that might have shared that heavy thought or what have you. So like it's really cool, like especially when you have people that you actually know, but even if you don't, there are opportunities to grow, you know, not have to be alone facing any particular thing. So if anybody is interested, it's flydadgear.com/dad group. It's free. You don't got to buy nothing. It's just like a group of guys talking their shit, trying to help each other out.
Why don't you give them your OnlyFans?
No. That one you got to pay for.
Dominican Poppy at OnlyFans.
That's the Dominican toe fetish.
Mango.
Yo, but so you're feeling better. Can we share some of the recent news?
Yeah, bro, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. It's your news.
Well, I mean, that added to the pressure and stress of that whole thing. So I proposed to my girl.
Yes, you did.
On Christmas. Were you supposed to put a horn there? Nothing. I didn't hear shit. Oh.
Nothing?
Oh, yeah, no, I heard. And, you know, the thing is, I wanted to get a ring and all this stuff for Christmas Day, but I couldn't go out shopping. I couldn't do shit. And then we got an argument over me trying to go shopping.
Which she didn't know that, but
She didn't know it was for that, but I'm like, yo, I want to go with my homie real quick because we want to buy shit for our girls and we don't want y'all to be there. And she's like, what the fuck is that? Nah, let's go. And I'm like, nah, bro, whatever. Long story short, we got an argument over that shit. And I was just so stressed and so in that place that I was like, I threw up my hands. I gave up. I'm like, fuck this shit. You know? Like, I'm not dealing with this. Like, all right, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to grab that. And, but whatever. Luckily, I proposed. And we ended up we went ring shopping actually yesterday.
Wait, how does that work? So you never went to get the ring.
No.
So you proposed without a ring.
I got a card.
Okay.
When I went to go get medicine in the middle of the night, I went and I got a Christmas card for her. Okay. And in the Christmas card I put, "Will you marry me?"
Oh.
In the midst of all the kids opening their stuff, I'm like, "Oh, here, this is for you."
The chaos.
She already knew the story that I couldn't get shit for anybody,
right.
Like other than the kids, everything we got on Amazon for the kids. Well, Santa got it, right. But what's it called? Oh, I got to tell you something my son said about Santa. But anyway, so yeah, I gave her that, and then she reads it, and as she's reading that, all like confused, she looks up, and I'm on one knee.
Oh, with your hands out, like.
Yeah, I was just like dun, 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 like this is what you get, me.
Let me ask you.
Air ring.
The air ring. The genesis of you planning that out, right? So like, how long have you been planning like that moment? How you were going to actually do it?
I'm terrible at all these things. I'm terrible at giving gifts. I'm terrible at moments. I'm a procrastinator for all this stuff. Yeah. I will put that out there. I'm really good at the thought that counts, but it's the thought only that counts. So I thought about it for a year already that I was going to do it on Christmas. I had been telling like some close friends, and as time, crept up, because there's never time for anything with everything, the kids and work or whatever. I'm like, all right, well, then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go. How hard is it to go get a fucking ring, bro? I'm just going to go get a ring a couple weeks before Christmas. And, because I don't want the ring around the house or I don't want to lose it or whatever. And then that couldn't happen because of, her being a jerk about it.
Blame her because you waited until you got sick.
No, you're right. No, and then she's like, this is, it was good. It was cute, but, no ring, kind of, a card. Like
she shitted on you.
Kind of shitted on her a little bit.
She was like, yes, I do, but you could have really tried harder.
It's true. I probably could have, but like I said, it's the thought that counts. Inside my mind, the shit was romantic and beautiful.
It worked.
But
did your kids pick up on anything as it was happening?
Kids do not understand any of this stuff. She tried to tell my daughter, "Oh, daddy, mommy and daddy are gonna get married." And my daughter's like, "What are you talking about? Like,
you've been married in my mind. I don't even
know. She doesn't know what married really is. Like." I'm like, she doesn't get it. Like, stop trying to confuse her. So like if we're not together, now we're going to be together. Like, how confusing would that become? But, once they see, once we do like a wedding or whatever we do, whatever ceremony we end up doing, that's the next phase of our back and forth of what's going to happen.
It may not even be a traditional wedding. It might be something else.
I'm with non-traditional.
Right.
But and she's with non-traditional as well. But then, she's like, also, every woman wants to have semi-traditional stuff. Yeah. And I get it. Yeah. And I told her I just want her to be happy, whatever she wants, to an extent.
Yo, congrats, bro.
Thank you.
That's big. Congrats to her.
Thank you.
I don't know, but I assume like this was something she was waiting for.
Yeah.
So it's dope to see. Did you feel pressure because you have kids to do it, like not now, but like earlier on when you had like your daughter, for instance? Was there pressure in your mind?
Yeah, there's always pressure, and my girl was always like wanting it to happen.
When are we doing this, right?
But I'm good at handling pressure like that. Like, I'm just like, I feel like I think it's more special when it really comes from like an organic, I'm ready place. Yep. And it's, to me, this is a formality. We are married already.
Sure.
So to me, this is but I get it. It's different for everybody, and for women more so. So yeah, it's just when I was ready.
When that day comes and you guys are officially married,
right?
Are you going to refer to your lady as my wife? My lady?
Absolutely.
You will. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I could do it now, but she gets weird when I say that. And
She gets weird about
I'm not
it.
really. You're right.
But that's like it's like a petty rebuttal. It's like,
yeah.
I'm not. You don't call me that because you haven't given me the ring yet, type of shit.
Yeah, and then also like the last name shit always gets a side eye.
Wait, time out. Is there a debate about that, or she's willing to take?
No, the fact that all of us have the same last name and she doesn't because we're not married.
Got it.
Yeah,
boy, some fun times ahead.
Yeah, man. Really quick before we get out of here,
before we get out of here, we still have to talk about the challenge, but continue.
Yeah, the challenge too. And I want to make one last comment on that, but I want to bring up my son, what he said, which was cute and interesting and terrifying at the same time. So I'm that guy that's putting Santa Claus in their mind that Santa Claus is real. I don't know. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. I believe in Santa Claus.
If you like it and you think it's good, then it's good.
Whatever. It's fun to me.
Yeah.
And then I get these apps that if anybody wants to know, and I can, send links to. I have an app where you can call Santa Claus. You can put the name in there of the kid, and it says their name, like they're talking to them on FaceTime.
Yeah.
And then I have another app where you pay a little bit of bread, and it gives you it superimposes a video of Santa Claus in your house, like at the tree. And there's different things that you can pick to do for Santa Claus to just look at your tree and be like, wow, this is beautiful, or look at you and be like, no, don't film me, and comes up to you crazy. So I did it last year. Unfortunately, I did the same video that I did last year, but it's a different background because everything looks a little different. And my daughter has an impeccable memory, so she was like, yeah, I think he said that last year or something like that. I don't know. But point is that they believe in Santa Claus, right?
Yeah.
And Santa Claus came while they were sleeping. They understand that and puts all the gifts there and eats.
So your daughter also still believes in Santa Claus?
I think I told my girl, I don't know, man. I don't know if she really believes it.
She's just milking it.
I think we're terrible at hiding things, but
that, and then when you go to school, the kids in school fuck it all up.
Yeah, but she's still little. She's 4. I don't know if they're fucking it up yet, but they're bound to fuck it up next year.
Yeah.
They believe in it. So, and my son, this is the first year where he's understanding Christmas. Last year he didn't. Now he does. He understands that Santa Claus comes, puts the gifts, all that. So that night, they woke up and Santa Claus all the gifts, and Santa Claus ate. We didn't have cookies, which we were supposed to have, but we gave him a fucking what are those little cakes called? Those little
I was gonna say a granola bar or some shit.
One of those fucking pound cakes.
Okay.
So he fucked up the pound cake, he drank all the milk, and then he put all the presents there. And then later that night, for putting, my son, putting him to sleep, we're talking about Christmas and all that. And he tells me this, which fucked me up. He's like, he's still not fully speaking, but he's I understand him.
Yeah.
And he's like, Santa came while sleeping. And I'm like, yeah, Papa. He goes, scary.
Oh.
And I'm like, it's scary? He goes, yeah, sleeping Santa came in the house, and I'm like, no, it's not scary. It was scary.
Yeah.
And I go, so I could see he was scared of fucking some guy in our crib in the middle of the night doing whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
And eating and all this shit. So I tell him, no, because I could see that he was scared of it. Like, it bothered him. I was like, I don't want him to go to sleep scared that anybody could come into the house. So I was like, no, Papi. I was like, he knocked on the door and I opened the door for him and I let him in. He goes, yeah. I go, yeah. I go, Santa's my friend. He goes, oh, and Santa's my friend too. I go, he's your friend? And daddy friend. He knocked on the door. I say he knocked on the door. I let him in. I told him where the food was at. And I filmed him, because I was there. I was right there next to him. So you saw the video. He's like, oh, and then he wasn't scared anymore.
Yeah, that was good thinking.
But I was like, holy shit, this is about to go fucking left, bro. Like, he's about to be terrified of home invading Santa Claus.
Can you imagine? Like, that literally would have been like the traumatic moment for him right there.
Yeah. He would have never gone to sleep ever again.
Ever. Every year.
Think that this fucking strange ass dude is walking in the crib.
Christmas would have been like the most terrible thing every year for him.
And then he kept saying it like the entire next day. He would say, Santa, my friend, Santa, daddy's friend. He knock on door. I was like, yeah, he knocked on the door. I let him in. Don't worry about it. And I go, nobody's coming in without daddy knowing. Okay. He's like, okay.
He was like, very clearly, like the way this motherfucker came in was dad let him in.
Yeah, because yeah, bro. I was like, that's smart too, though. That he's like, why the fuck this dude? Like, how did he get in? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's some creepy ass shit, Dad. How are you guys normalizing this?
Yo, for real.
He's looking at us wild. He's looking around like, nobody thinks this is crazy.
Yeah. The 2-year-old is like, yo, something's not adding up. All right. So this is airing the beginning of the year.
Right. We're setting up.
Everybody's on their New Year's resolution tip right now. I propose.
Oh, you're proposing to me? I didn't know you were like that, but let's go for it.
Let me get you the air ring. So we talked earlier about the whole therapy thing. I've been thinking about therapy for a very long time. And I can't come up with a good reason other than my own insecurities as why I haven't taken the step to go get a therapist, to find one. And so I think it's a great opportunity, and I will join you in this challenge to go and find one. And not just like one and done the situation, because you may not find the right one the first time. I don't really know how best to approach finding somebody that you could vibe with, but I'm going to look into it. And I'm going to go find myself one. And I challenge you to do so. And we got to set a deadline, though. So what's a comfortable deadline for you to feel like you can actually accomplish this?
I don't like the word deadline.
I don't even know what another word for deadline is right now.
Let's set a marker in our calendar.
Let's set a date of completion.
And let me ask you this quick question, because I actually signed up for this service and didn't use it. Mm-hmm. But there's that service that allows you to do unlimited Zoom, like, tele video therapy.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, what? I don't know I need to have the person in front of me.
I kind of feel like I prefer in person over virtual for almost everything. So I think for me, it'll also be the same.
And another thing.
But wait, there's more.
There's more. I feel that what makes therapy for me difficult also now is that I actually take the opportunity every time I talk to be almost like therapy, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's even on drink, like it's like if I'm saying something, I feel like I'm being as genuine and honest as I can about myself and kind of vulnerable a lot of the times.
Yep.
I feel like a therapist is just an extension of a podcast episode. And how do I get that out of my mind that I'm just telling my autobiography to somebody, and that I'm not editing it to make the more entertaining version of my autobiography?
So being someone that's never, actually, I can't say never. Before I got divorced that one time.
I forget that you were married.
I'm once divorced. So we did do couples therapy, but I had already made up my mind that it was a wrap. So I didn't really give that session any real credence. So that's why I kind of don't count it, but I actually was in the presence of one. But generally not knowing how that's supposed to really go, I would say, I would love to think that professional will be somebody that's going to call bullshit when they smell it, but also hold you accountable in those sessions and dig deeply enough to try to make progress every time you speak with them. So that's the mindset that at least that I'm going to approach it with and expect from them. And really, like, a lot of the stuff I would approach trying to find the person the way I would approach like sending my kids to a new daycare or school. Like, I'm interviewing the fuck out of that person as best I can. Before you do
therapy?
Yeah, like I want to understand like who I'm dealing with, what I should expect from that person, and if it's comfortable for me. If I feel like, yeah, that's logical, I think I could actually have a conversation with this person, then I would take that step. But not just like blindly, like you might go to a doctor, brand new doctor, and not really interview them. Just kind of show up, all right, yeah, whatever. I know you're a PCP. You can check me out, physical, that kind of shit, and you generally be okay. This is a whole different ballgame to me. So that's how I would approach it. So I would suggest look at it that way. And I think the whole podcast, the way you approach a podcast, I think will change very rapidly if you find the right like partner in that voyage.
Got it. Damn, there was something else I wanted to mention.
You still haven't set a target date though, so like don't try to.
I would say end of February.
All right, so Valentine's Day is what we're gonna go with then.
All right,
February 14th. Don't worry, I will be checking in on you in the group chat. We might need to include Kay in this too. He's not here. Oh damn, we didn't even talk about that. Poor Kay's sick. That's why he's not here.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Kay.
Yeah.
We've been fucking up. We've been doing the duo cast for a while now. Somebody be missing.
Yeah. But see, that's the beauty of having partners in a podcast, multiple, because then we can rotate and the audience doesn't suffer too much.
Right, except we keep giving them the reruns.
Yeah. We're gonna do better, y'all. We're gonna do better. All right. You've heard enough from us.
Yeah.
We hope that you start this year off with a bang.
And hold up. And actually, I just remembered. Just take, it's said often, take mental health serious.
Yeah.
But there's things where you don't even think you have mental health issues, situations, sickness. Excuse me. Obviously, I'm not over my fucking flu. Just, as men, don't feel too macho to do what you need to do, especially if you're a father, because at the end of the day, you're not living necessarily for yourself alone. Right. You got other people that depend on you. So get your shit together.
Yo, and we talked about it earlier, but it's really key to find a group of people that just even maybe just one other person, doesn't necessarily have to be a therapist like we were just talking about, but like some confidant that you can find that will give you the attention you need when you need it. And I talked about the Fly Dad group. It could be a meetup that you join in your neighborhood with some dudes that are down to like have conversations like that. It doesn't have to be complicated, but seek it. I don't care what your circumstances are, financially, geographically, like you can find a resource or two that you can lean on and not feel alone. Like that is crucial.
Something important too that that was impacting me during that time is I wasn't able to go work out. And you see, although working out has changed over the years for me to the point where, I was working out and I was physically getting fit, and now I'm just fat boy fitness.
Yeah.
What it really does for me nowadays is it helps me relieve stress. Like it's a stress release.
Yeah.
And it really works. So I would say, if you're not into working out or whatever, if you can do some kind of physical activity, I guarantee you it will help you in stress relief.
That's a great point. And something I don't do and I actually despise, but a lot of people do, is run.
I can't run.
If I'm not being chased or running for my life, I'm not running. Well, when I play ball. But people that run often say, at first, it's a little bit like torture when you kind of get going. But then after like the first couple of miles, your mind
that hurt hearing that.
I know, it's crazy. I cringe myself. But like after that couple of miles, like your mind just starts to wander and you feel like this clarity and like you're in your thoughts, but in a good way. And it becomes very therapeutic.
So what's in your knees when you're running that hurts?
In your knees?
My knees is what hurts. My back is what hurts.
Yeah, everything. All the things you just said, my calves are on fire.
You're talking about you're in your mind and you're fucking metaphysical. Like
what
my mind ain't doing shit. My mind just sitting there in my fucking skull while my fucking legs and my back are hurting.
But that's what they tell me. They're like, yeah, that's happening, but your mind takes over. And then your body, the aches and shit kind of subside.
I have a rower at the crib. I mean, I need to use it more.
A rower's dope.
Yeah, rower.
You should use it.
Yeah, man.
All right, that's another challenge for another dime.
Me fui pa la pinga.
All right, bro. Hasta la pinga.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.